Greetings, Japan fans. Today's show, we're going to be looking at loyalty. Maishu, arigatou gozaimasu. And welcome back to the 11th year of the Leadership Japan series. And I'm your host in Tokyo, Dr. Greg Story, Dale Carnegie Tokyo franchise owner, president of Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training, and the three-time best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery, which is Zaegyo in Japanese, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery, or in Japanese, Anata mo Prezen no Tachiden. Plus, Stop Wasting Money on Training, which in Japanese is Training de Okane o Muru ni suru no wa Yamaichi Shock. And all are available on Amazon. This podcast brings insights, examples, and experience about leading in Japan. Trust me, it is different here. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. We're not being sponsored by Libsyn, but we value your privacy, which is why we have our podcast hosted by Libsyn. Unlike many other hosting organizations, Libsyn have a strict policy that does not allow access to your private information by anyone. Here is our daily podcast lineup on Apple Podcasts. Mondays, the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show podcast. Tuesday, the Presentation Japan series. Every second Tuesday, the Business Tatsujin no Oshie Show. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan series. And every second Thursday, the Business Pro Podcaster Show. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show podcast. Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews. Before we get going, today's handy Japanese phrase is Sore misete kudasai. Sore misete kudasai. Show me that one, please. So you might be looking at some jewelry or some shopping and you want to have a look at it. So you say to the clerk, Sore misete kudasai. Sore misete kudasai. Sore misete kudasai. Please show me that one. Sore misete kudasai. And this is episode number 550. And today we are talking about loyalty is now tenuous in business in Japan. Japan has had a very low degree of mobility in employment. Large companies hired staff straight out of school or university and expected they would spend their entire working life with their employer. That has worked for a very long time, but we've hit an inflection point where this is less something we can expect. Mid-career hires were frowned upon. If you bolted from your employer, you had almost zero chance of joining a competitor. You entered a dark forest and had to find your way through the brambles and undergrowth to mete out a living in the lower rungs of a netherworld of small firms willing to take you on. In 1997, the venerable Yamaichi Securities blew up, and a lot of competent, hard-working finance industry people suddenly found themselves in the street without a job. Other firms in the same sector employed them because they were skilled, and this was the first tear in the fabric of the stigma of the mid-career hire. The Lehman Shock on September 15, 2008 added another slash to lifetime employment in Japan as many people lost their jobs. 2001 earthquake, tsunami, and triple nuclear power plant explosions disrupted many industries, throwing people out of work. COVID did a similar job on particular industries like tourism and hospitality as borders closed. The downturn in population has meant there's a strong demand for workers with a growing limitation on the supply side. This throws up options for staff which were not there before, and it impacts the loyalty factor of the worker-employer construct. 30% of young people in their third and fourth year of employ, after having been trained by the company who hired them, jump out and go somewhere else. No loyalty and no qualms about leaving their employer. A client of mine sent me a note the other day about doing some training, and as an aside, he mentioned that one of his key people involved in that decision, who had been with him for 14 years, was suddenly leaving. This is very disheartening because you lose the experience, their contacts, and the continuity with their colleagues and clients. that takes a long time to restitch together. Sometimes it is the stupidity of our own construction. An organization I used to work for had a new leader appear. He was not the usual standard of experience or capability for that complex work. He decided to fire one of the staff who'd been with the organization for decades. He had no conception of the network he was letting walk out the door. 20 plus years of deep relationships with buyers in his industry had just vaporized. It was not something obvious you can notice, like a chair has gone missing in the office, but the loss to the business is still there and manifests itself later when you can least bear it. Find out more. We come back from the break. Today's show is brought to you by our public courses, but we also do custom in-house programs. We do them in Japanese and we do them in English, do them in our super safe classroom. We do them live online. Our show today is being brought to you by, on the 25th and 26th of April, we're doing our high impact presentations course. The 26th of April, doing winning through relationship selling, 8-week version. On the 9th of May, we'll be doing a 3-day version of our Dale Carnegie course. Our website is www.dale-carnegie.co.jp. So that's www.dale-carnegie.co.jp. You can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. So that's greg.story, STORY, at dalecarnegie.com. Don't forget to grab my business books on Japan on Amazon. Japan Sales Mastery, which is Zaegyo in Japanese. Japan Business Mastery. Japan Presentations Mastery, which is Anata mo Presen no Tachijin in translation. And Stop Wasting Money on Training, which in Japanese is Training de Okane o Muru ni suru wa yamimashou. If you like learning by watching videos, and we have over 2,300 there for you at Tokyo, Japan, Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. We release 3 TV shows every week on YouTube. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, that's the premier business show on Japan. That's every Monday, Tokyo time. Fridays, we have the Japan Business Mastery Show. And on Saturdays, we release Japan's top business interviews, where I interview leaders from SMEs all the way up to the corporate captains of industry on one topic, leading in Japan. Every second Thursday, we release the Business Pro Television Show. You can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Welcome back. What can we do about this? Sadly, not much. We do our best to align the direction and values of the organization with the staff's interests. Won't always be a perfect fit. Also, their interests change. They now have aging parents, get married, have children, start to think about retirement, etc. COVID has crushed many companies, and those pressures can speed up changes which lead to staff leaving. When things are rolling, there is less taste to leave because the rewards are coming thick and fast. When things have been tough, and you're crawling out of the hole together, the rewards are all in the future. 2 of Dale Carnegie's stress management principles come in handy here. One is to cooperate with the inevitable, and the other is to expect ingratitude. It is inevitable that in a strong demand economy for staff, we will see people moving more and more than in the past. The old mid-career hire stigmas have become less potent, and the era of the free agent employee is upon us. We have to face the reality and not pine for the good old days of a desk groaning under the weight of resumes of people seeking employ. I should have photographed that phenomenon, because I will never see its like again in my working life. The ingratitude aspect of no loyalty is also a bitter pill to swallow. We do our absolute best to be fair with our people and give them as much as we can of the rewards, but they still up and leave us. The departure event is one struggle, but our reaction is the biggest struggle. If we get caught up in expectations which are too high or unrealistic for a changing market, then we are setting ourselves up for depression and stress. If we believe we've been fair, but it hasn't been enough, then we should get over it and go find a replacement, no matter how fraught, expensive, and difficult that may be. We also had better get used to it, because this has already become our reality from now on. Thank you for joining the Leadership Japan series. If you found the program useful, then tell your family, friends, and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. You can contact me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Our website is www.dale-carnegie.co.jp. Until the next episode, take what you thought valuable, put it into action, because idea application is what makes winners winners. So be one of them. Remember, I'm in your corner, your go-to guy for soft skills training in Tokyo, committed to your success here in Nippon.